Hi, everybody. It's Thursday morning, it should be when you watch this. I'm really looking forward to chatting with you guys. If you can jump on to the Google chat, that would be amazing. Very informal, not really going over content unless you have specific questions, but just kind of answering questions, just checking in, see how you guys are doing. If any of you want to just talk privately or do like a Google chat, just the two of us. If you have any questions about college stuff or psych stuff, don't hesitate. Just shoot me an email. We can jump on a chat or something too. I am here for you guys and missing you guys so much. So this is not going to take long at all. We're just going to finish out the Unit 12 abnormal unit. So the last of the major categories we're going to talk about are personality disorders. And then I'm just going to recap the eating disorders that we've already talked about in the motivation unit, okay? So the last of these disorders that we haven't talked about are personality disorders. And these are really difficult to diagnose and then also to treat. And it's very hard to get these diagnoses too, because they're personality disorders. So they're really long-standing. So I'm going to get to that. Right. Okay, so personality disorders in general, these are, they're characterized by unchanging and then long-lasting behavior patterns that impair social personal functioning. So it's really inflexible, enduring behavior patterns that really impair social functioning. So these people don't have good relationships with family, friends. There's a lot of difficulties in school or work, and it's just really long-standing, enduring patterns. Okay, so that's the big thing with personality disorders. And the DSM-5, so the big purple book, they categorize those in 3 different clusters. So it's going to be cluster A, cluster B, and cluster C. So we're going to go over those really quick with you guys. So in that cluster A, there's 3 types in here. Okay, so there's, in the cluster A, it's schizoid, schizotypal, and then, who's that third? Paranoid. Okay, so in cluster A, and they refer to cluster A more like this odd and eccentric behavior. I think I'll put that in here. So yeah, odd or eccentric behavior. So that's kind of how this is known, cluster A, and it's schizoid, schizotypal, and paranoid. So a schizoid personality disorder, that would be characterized by there's no desire to interact with people. And it's not based on anything related to social anxiety or anxiety in general. It's just these people, they don't care. They don't want to be with people. It's just they don't really like to interact with people in general. Okay, so schizoid, I put void of friends. I love a mnemonic, so void of friends there. So again, it's an individual's behavior that's affected as they express odd, eccentric behaviors, such as no emotional expression, no social attachments. And they really just don't have any desire to be with people. Okay. Schizotypal, this one, this one is characterized by so really odd and eccentric behaviors and beliefs. Okay, so they are very eccentric, and I think there's a really good video in here. If you've ever watched with Johnny Depp, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, his behavior in that movie is all schizotypal. Okay, so it's, they don't really like to interact with people, and they have these really eccentric beliefs, like UFOs fly at night. They're just very eccentric. And so my mnemonic here is, where'd it go? Schizotypal. Typal sounds like taffy, Laffy Taffy. I don't know. You won't have to remember these mnemonics for a test, so it's okay. And then the last one in the type A cluster is paranoid. And this one is just as it sounds. It's like often just this really immense um, difficulty like trusting people. They expect that people are going to stab them in the back. There's a lot of like betrayal around it. And this is different than like a schizophrenia paranoia where really it's like their thoughts. This is this true belief that like everybody's out to get them. And there's a lot of mistrust in their relationships, which then makes it really difficult for them to have relationships with people. Okay. All right, so that was cluster A. Cluster B, these typically are more dramatic and impulsive behavior disorders. So this is where narcissistic personality disorder comes in, borderline personality disorder, and then histrionic. Those are in that cluster B, and those are all more like dramatic and very impulsive behavior personality disorders. So the first one is narcissistic. This one is, everything is always about them. This grandiosity, the seeking of excessive admiration, and these people also really lack empathy. They don't really care about other people's feelings. It's all about them. There's like no empathy in that. So it's all like their behavior is really self-focused and like self-driven. They don't care about anybody but themselves. It's all about them, and it's all about them like having this like admiration from people. Okay, so that's narcissistic. Histrionic. If you've ever seen Mean Girls, I love that movie. She would be definitely a histrionic personality disorder. So dramatic, excessively emotional, given the context. So everything's blown out of proportion. This person would want to always be the center of attention in social situations. So they're very attention-seeking, self-absorbed, more dramatic than necessary. So histrionic, I put history equals queens, drama queens. And it's a little different than narcissistic because narcissistic, although they like to be center of attention too, histrionic personality disorder has a little bit more empathy than narcissistic personality disorders. They just don't have any empathy or thoughts for anybody but themselves. Okay. Histrionic, they're just very attention-seeking and self-obsessed. Okay. And then there's antisocial in here. And then this is a little clip. If you go into my actual Prezi, you can see this clip of Charles Manson. Antisocial, this is a person who really exhibits a lack of conscience for wrongdoing, even towards like friends and family. So Charles Manson, and they're like doing things that are really like bad, like hurting animals, hurting people, and there's like no remorse for anything that they do. Okay, so sometimes like psychopaths or sociopaths, they you hear that word. Those are more like antisocial personality disorders. Okay, what else can I tell you? And then there's borderline personality disorder. This one is really a difficulty in like regulating your emotions. Then it leads to like unstable mood swings, instability. It sounds a lot like bipolar, but bipolar, you really have breaks in like you are in a hypomania and then low lows for depression. Where borderline personality disorder, it's just this constant like emotional roller coaster. Things really affect them, and they take everything to heart. It's just really difficult relationships. We had to read a book in college when I was getting my master's. It was called I Hate You, Don't Leave Me. And that book really summed up borderline personality disorder. It was just this like constant like relationships were always in jeopardy. They had really a lot of time. Just the mood swings were really unstable in borderline personality disorder. And again, these are like long-standing patterns. It takes a lot to get diagnosed with a personality disorder because it really you have to like have this consistent instability with your life. for a long period with personality disorders. Okay, so with cluster B, that was borderline, histrionic, antisocial, and narcissistic. So those are all in that cluster B, which are more impulsive and dramatic behavior patterns. Okay, all right. And then the last one is cluster C. And the features of this cluster is that they're just really fearful in general. It's not anxiety related, it's more just that's how they are. Like there's not any panic attacks with the personality disorders, it's just they're constantly fearful. And so the two big ones in this one are avoidant personality disorder and dependent personality disorder. Okay, so avoidant personality disorder, this is really, really extreme shyness due to feelings of inadequacy. Even though they might want to feel like they could interact, they just feel like they aren't adequate and they're hypersensitive to negative evaluation. And it's really, with a lot of these personality disorders, it's like, you can't really tell until adulthood with them. But for avoidant, it's very fearful, shyness, feeling inadequate, and then just really hypersensitive to negative events. They're always feeling like they're judged with avoidance, so then they avoid situations usually in general. And then there's dependent personality disorder. This one is excessive need to be taken care of. So they're very, very clingy. They can't do a lot by themselves. So it's just this like constant need to be with somebody, to be taken care of, to just, they can't do things on their own. Okay. I think that's everything with personality disorders. Yay! Okay, so just a quick review on eating disorders. You know these from the motivation and the hunger unit. And these will be on the test. That's why I'm going to recap these again, because this is definitely going to be on the test because it's part of the motivation hunger unit. Okay. So we talked about these in that unit, but just to quickly go over them again, because these are the three big ones that'll be on it. Anorexia, that's that condition in which the normal weight person continuously tries to lose weight, but still feels overweight. And remember, with anorexia, you're really withholding food. So there's a lot of not eating or really restricting what you're eating because the person feels like they're constantly overweight. Okay? And then remember, with bulimia, that's that overeating, right? And it's a lot of high calorie foods, and then that's followed by purging. So either taking laxatives, throwing up, excessive exercise. That's with bulimia. So bulimia, you're actually doing all the overeating, but then you're purging afterwards. Where anorexia is you're really restricting the amount of food that you're eating, sometimes not even eating at all in a day. Okay, and then there's this new one. There's a new one that we've talked a little bit about, but that's binge eating disorder. And this is now a disorder in the DSM-5. And that one is called binge eating disorder. And that's where you're going to have these significant overeating episodes. You're not purging, though, with it. So with the binge eating, you're doing what a lot of the bulimic patients do, but you're not purging or you're not fasting after it. You're just feeling those feel really guilty after it. But again, to get these diagnoses, you have to have maladaptive behavior with it, which we know from the beginning of the PRESI. It's affecting your day-to-day life. Okay? I think that's everything with this unit. So we got through Unit 12, which I'm super happy about. So we might come back to this because there were so many fun things I did with this. We got to diagnose Disney characters, we got to treatment plan, and do case studies. So I don't know, if we're back to school and we're looking for stuff to do after the exam, I might throw you into this, but maybe not. But in the Unit 12 and 13 Schoology that little folder. There's lots of different videos, and there's all of my notes, good notes, especially for the treatment planning is in there too. So if you want to ever look at that or make a copy of it, if you're thinking about doing a psych major in college, it might be good info for you to take. Okay, I look forward to seeing you guys on our group chat today. Hope you're doing great. I'm super happy with how you guys are all doing with my class. I feel like I'm not concerned at all. Okay, I'll see you soon. Take care.